I think with a lot of other agencies, it wasn't as personal. I feel like we'd call and then like they'd kind of forget like your name or forget like something simple. So I think when we called Vince and Martin Gerard, like straight away they were like, oh, Mara and Jess, like, oh, I think like even if it was like on the phone to me, he'd be like, oh, I've just spoken to Jess. And like just knowing someone's name, I think makes a big difference and remembering it. And I think also just the process was a lot quicker and it was just like simple, like to the point, and just got everything out of the way quite quick. Whereas I feel like other places, it seems very complicated and all up in the air. Like I'm finding myself having to ask more questions. Whereas with Martin Gerard, we just got told exactly what we needed and what we needed to do, and that was pretty much it.
Martin Gerard's communication is a lot better than other agencies, just purely because they seem so interested in you, and they seem invested in you getting the flat and you getting the property that you want. Whereas other agencies it doesn't seem like they're rooting for you, they're rooting for themselves. Whereas I didn't get that from Vince. It was like, I'm here to help you guys.
I think other agencies, because we were students or like just finishing, I think they took us more like less seriously. And you can feel it straight away once you say that you're a student and things like that. They just straight away are kind of like, you just kind of get put to the side. Whereas with Martin Gerard and Vince, like, it just wasn't that way at all. Like we were all the same level as like every other person. It didn't feel that like they were less interested just because of that reason. So
yeah, and like I think there's a lot of stigma around students and but if you get to know us like Vince did, you know that we're very much the opposite as to the average party student. So it helps it does pay off getting to know people, and that's what Martin Gerard does well.
It was speedy, but like nice. Like it wasn't a rush. It was just, here's what happens. If you've got any questions, let me know. And like there was never a silly question. It was all like, if we asked a silly question, I guess it wasn't conveyed in that way. Like he was happy to answer it. Like Vince was great, really.
Because we like got to know Vince throughout the process. Even when he went on holiday or wasn't there in office, and someone else took over, and even then I felt comfortable. So it's just like a brilliant
team.
Team.
Martin Gerard make it a more of a personal touch, and I think that elevates the experience as a whole, because like I said at the beginning, like them remembering your name is just such a small thing, but it's like, oh, they remember who I am, and they remember that I'm interested in this flat and that I'm interested in this and this. Like it just keeps the ball rolling for all the other information that you've told them. It makes you feel like they've remembered it all.
Yeah, it gets to the point where like you could just invite them round for coffee.
Yeah.
And that's lovely, because you wouldn't want to work alongside anybody if that wasn't the case. And I think more agencies should maybe take some notes from Martin Gerard.
When we moved in, I feel like you expect the whole agency-tenant relationship to completely disappear, but like I had a problem with the boiler or something like that, and Vince was the only number I had at the time. I didn't have the landlord's number, so I messaged him and he was straight away like, oh, do you want me to video chat and I can show you what it is and things like that. Like he was straight away happy to help always, even though we had gotten the flat and technically that relationship could be over. But he's like, if there's any other problems that the landlord can't help with, I'm here to help still throughout this journey. So that was great.
If I ever had to look for a flat or look for any property again, I'd go through Martin Gerard, because I've like never had a better experience with anyone else, because like we've both lived in previous properties and worked with other agencies like properly to the end, and it's nothing like this experience.
So I think the three things that like impressed us the most with Martin Gerard and Vince as a whole was probably communication, the efficiency, and like the personal touch that just puts it over the edge, like the cherry on the cake.
The reason we've done this interview is purely because I'd like other people to have an experience like us, and just by us promoting Vince and Martin Gerard, then there's a higher chance of them coming, especially students and younger people. Like it is a hard like game out there, and sometimes we need some help, so it'd be nice if they all knew that this was a safe space to come and it's reliable. Even anyone, it's just homely. If you want a good experience and you want a friendly agent, come to Martin Gerard.
Yeah. I also think because the reason we're doing this testimonial is because they went above and beyond for us. So I feel like this is our way of paying them back and being like, thank you so much for getting us this place. We can't thank you enough. So I think this is our way of being like, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vince. I would absolutely recommend Martin Gerard to anyone I know, just purely because of the 3 things you said: communication, efficiency, and the personal touch, especially the personal touches. Like, everybody wants to feel like somebody's invested in their journey, that because we're so passionate about finding somewhere, and it's nice to have somebody as passionate for your cause, instead of like normally like their cause like just getting you anywhere. It was sort of the case of like, you need to be where you fit in, not
and feel
the
safe.
first place we can pay for.
Yeah.